Hey, I'm Sierra, and I am going to tell you all about my testimony on how I came to Christ, how He found me and picked me up and took me out of the fire, or like the highway to hell, because I was definitely on the highway to hell. Full disclosure, I don't need anyone's permission to talk about what you do to me. If you've done anything to me in my past and you are a part of my testimony, I don't need your permission to talk about you. The permission to talk about you was given when you done the deed, whatever that was. So I don't need anyone's permission to talk about them on my testimony, during my testimony, or anything, because unfortunately, you became a part of the testimony when you did whatever it was that you did, good or bad. I don't have to drop names, but I'm going to talk about anything that anybody has done to me or done for me. I can say your name, but I'm not going to, because there's no point, you know who you are. But the reason that I'm making this video is because I had another testimony video and someone came to me about what I said about them on there, and they wanted to tell their side of the story. And when I heard their side of the story, I told them that I would redo my testimony. And so this is me keeping my word. So to begin, I want to start at my birth. So when I was born, you can say that Satan has been after me since I was in the womb. I came out and I was told that the nurses or doctors or whoever was there had yelled out code blue. Code blue in the hospital setting is the highest level of medical emergency in a hospital. It means a patient's heart or breathing has completely stopped and they are on the verge of death. That's what it says on Google, by the way. That's what code blue means for anyone who doesn't know what code blue means. I was on the verge of death. I wasn't breathing. My heart stopped. Whatever happened, I had to get resuscitated. That is how my life began. So my first day in the world, I was also taken out of the world. But it's not funny. I don't know, I'm laughing. But what I'm saying is the enemy has been after me for a long time. And it didn't begin when I became a child or a teenager. It actually began for me at birth. So when people say you only live once, not me, I lived twice. So that's my story from the beginning. I was born without breathing. I was told that my granddad, my great-granddad, had went to the chapel inside of the hospital. I think it was a chapel or a prayer room. I don't know what it was, but I was told that he went there and the person who seen him, they seen him on his knees praying to God, praying that God would allow me to live and that I would live. And I miss my great-granddad. He was like the best person to me ever. But yes, he was the one who was interceding on my behalf that I may live. And I believe that God answered his prayer because they were able to bring me back. And here I am. So that's the beginning of Satan being on my tail. I want to talk about my upbringing. I was brought up in a two-parent household at an early age, but my parents got a divorce. I believe I was 4. I think I was 4 years old when my parents got a divorce. But they married early. She had me when she was 18. She got pregnant with me at 17, had me when she was 18. She was a teen mom, and because of religion and people in her ear, she thought it was okay to go ahead and marry my dad at that early age. Both of them are the same age, but that's how old they were around that time. They got married, and for obvious religious reasons, which is why people shouldn't dibble and dabble with religion. Like anything that is religious, just stay out of it. The intention might be good, but the outcome might be bad. There's a difference between religion and there's a difference between relationship. Religion is worldly and man-made. We don't want to do religion. Like all the denominations and things like that, that's all religion. I don't do denominations. I don't do anything like that. I have a relationship with the Heavenly Father, like a personal relationship with Him, with the Son, with the Holy Spirit. That's how I live. But I'm saying all that because they were more so dealing with religion, which is why she got married at an early age. And also, she was pregnant, so it makes sense you don't want to be a baby mom or something like that. They also had my sister, and she's 2 years younger than me. And it was just me and her in my household. I have a brother, or I had a brother around that time before my dad and my mom even got together. So I have an older brother as well. But to my household, to my mom, it's only two of us, and it's me and it's my little sister. So I'm only talking about us right now. It's 9 siblings in all on my dad's side, but I'm only talking about my mom's children. So that's me and my sister. Okay, so my parents were married and they got a divorce. Around that time, my dad was my favorite. Like, I was a dad's girl, so I was a daddy's girl. So him leaving, that made me mad. And of course, at that age, I didn't know why he left. But around that time, I just knew that my favorite parent wasn't in the home anymore. And I did not get along with my mom at all. It was just not a good experience for me. And a part of me talking about my dad and my mom getting a divorce is because that also plays a role in how I looked at men. I feel like my dad leaving opened up the doorway to an abandoned spirit. So I didn't trust that people would stick around because my favorite person left me. Anybody can leave me. I was also told that at an early age, I was a mean child. Like, they told me I would just be mean to everyone and just bossy and sassy. That was my personality growing up as a kid. I don't know why God created me the way that he did, but I've always been on the mean side of things. I didn't talk to people much. I didn't like people touching me or being beside me. I didn't like people looking at me. Like, I just was in this little bubble to myself, and I wanted to stay to myself. I didn't even like to be bothered. Like, just leave me alone. That was my personality. That's how I carried myself. And that is also how life was for me pretty much up until I got a little older. But I want to start at my upbringing. I was brought up in Christ. I was brought up in a Baptist church, but I also went to a Seventh-day Adventist church. And at those churches, you go on Saturday. So I was at church Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and Wednesdays. So I was pretty much always in church, and I hated church really, really bad. But that's how I grew up. But I was mainly Baptist. We just went to the Seventh-day Adventist church occasionally because we had family that went to that church. Kindergarten to 4th grade, I went to a predominantly white school. And growing up in that environment, I didn't deal with bullying or anything like that. It was a different vibe. I didn't have any reason to defend myself. And this is important because this is where all of my life just changed. It changed in a moment between elementary transitioning into middle school. I was always, like I said, I was kind of mean. I wasn't kind of mean, I was a mean child, but I stayed to myself. So I was real conservative. I was timid. I was shy. I was quiet. Like, I was abnormally quiet. I didn't talk much. I didn't smile on any of my pictures. I think I have like one picture when I was smiling when I was little. I didn't smile on my pictures or family pictures. Yeah, I was timid and stuff. I was just to myself. But at this school, I had friends. It was a good environment that I was in elementary. And my household was good too. So I didn't have any bad things happening to me as a child in the home or anything. But something did happen to me as a child. But it wasn't anything that was like just crazy or bizarre. It was just something that the enemy got a hold of me by. Yeah. Going to that school, I did not have to defend myself. That's the whole point I'm getting at. There was no fighting at that school. There was no bullying at that school. It was just a different environment. I'm black. There wasn't too many black children at this school. There were black children there, but it wasn't a lot. Now, transitioning from where I was, we ended up moving. And when we moved, it was in a neighborhood where there were like, there were more predominantly black children. So the second half of my 4th grade semester, I went to a black elementary, and that school was fun too. I didn't have any issues there. It wasn't until 5th grade when I went totally into a black school. 5th grade, was the year that my life changed for the worse. And this year I got bullied. It was some project girls. They were from projects, like a ghetto place. And I don't know. I don't know why they don't like me. I mean, at that time, I didn't know why they didn't like me. It was 3 of them. And I'm not going to say their names, but they know who they are. I had 3 bullies, and these bullies would bully me my entire 5th grade semester, both semesters. And I didn't even know why these girls didn't like me. I know now, being an adult, or, you know, I end up learning later why they didn't like me, just based off the Holy Spirit. It was jealousy, obviously. They looked dirty, wasn't the cleanest. You know, they looked, I don't know. You get the picture. I looked how I looked, and they looked how they looked. Let me put it like that. I didn't grow up in the ghetto. I didn't grow up in a hood. That's just not how I was raised. So I didn't look that way, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I know what I'm trying to say. They were what they were. And I see why jealousy and things like that could come into play now. But at that time, I didn't know why they were bullying me. So there were 3 bullying experiences that took place. I don't remember the order, so I'm just going to throw out the 3 situations that happened. One situation, because they also used to cheat on my homework and on my paper. They used to ask me for help because I guess they wasn't smart. I don't know. But they always cheated off my paper, or they would ask to see my work. And I was like, yeah. Because again, I'm timid at this time. I'm nervous, I'm scared. I don't know why they don't like me. I don't know why they're picking on me. So yeah, I let them see my homework. But one time they took my homework, they balled it up. Then they unballed my homework, and they skated on the floor with their dirty shoes up and down the classroom floor, skating on my paper. And once they got done skating on it, they handed it to me. And that was the first time that I cried in public. And that was also the last time that I cried in public for a long time. I'm crying, and the whole classroom sees me crying, and I'm just embarrassed. Don't know why they're doing that to me, and I'm just not even understanding what's going on. But that happened, and that broke something in me as well. Even that situation, that broke something in me. Another time they had bullied me, one of them had punched me in my arm, and she had punched me so hard that I had received what they call a frog in my arm. Like, that's where you get a bruise, a hard bruise. My skin had turned like a greenish purple color right there. I don't remember which arm, but she had punched me on one of my upper arms, and I had bruised. I did not cry, actually. I held it in, but I wanted to because it hurt that bad. The third instance that happened, this third situation that happened, was the one, and again, I don't remember the order of these things, but this third one was crazy. They were in the restroom at the school, and I had to use the restroom, so I ended up going in there. I knew they were in there, so I was kind of hesitant to go in. But I went in there, all 3 of them were in there, and they had took me to a bathroom stall, and they tried to give me what is called a swirly. And a swirly is when you hold someone upside down or just hold their head in the toilet and you flush the toilet with their head inside. They attempted to give me a swirly. They didn't succeed, but that was like the first time that I really felt fear. So what they did, they put me on my knees. They didn't pick me up, but they put me on my knees. They took my head, and they were trying to put my head in the water. Like, dirtiness and filthiness, and me having even touched the toilet seat and stuff. All of that just scared me because I'm a clean person, and everything about that situation just disturbed me, like, in a really bad way. But they were trying to put my head, all 3 of them. All 3 of them were bigger than me too, and taller than me. Well, 2 of them were about my same height, but one of them was like tall like a giraffe. And they tried to put my head in the toilet bowl, and they tried to flush the toilet, but they couldn't get my head in. And while they were doing that, I was praying in my head like, God, please don't let them stick my head in the toilet. Like, it's dirty, and like, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. So this is me praying in my head. I wasn't praying out loud, but I was always brought up to pray. Like, if I'm in a bad situation or if something bad is happening, I was always told to pray. So that's what I did. So while I'm praying, I believe in that moment God gave me the strength, because cause I'm a small person, like, period. But then I was super small. So there is no explanation to why they weren't able to put my head in the toilet, except that God had blocked them from doing it. God had gave me a supernatural strength to withstand that. Like, it didn't happen. And I know that was him in that moment, and that was him helping me. So after they got tired eventually of trying to get my head in the toilet, they gave up, and then they left out. And I just remember this fear just taking over. Like, the fear was so bad. And after that, I went to the classroom. I never told my mom or my dad about what was going on with some of those things, because I also knew how my parents were. My parents did not play, neither one of them. So I didn't even want them going to jail. I just knew that I needed to be quiet. And then I was scared. I didn't want to tell. It was crazy. I'm a snitch. I would tell about anything, especially anything bad. Like, I don't know why I didn't tell on them though, but I didn't. Fear. I didn't tell on them because I was scared. But I ended up telling my dad about me getting bullied at school. So they had planned to game me at the end of the school year. Like, all three of them. And I was terrified. I was like, game me? Like, why would you want to game me? Why do y'all not like me? That's what I'm thinking. Like, I don't even know you. Leave me alone. I don't even like people. Like, leave me alone. But they wanted to gang me. They wanted to fight me or whatever. I guess that's how they were brought up in whatever environment they grew up in. Maybe that was normal to them, but that wasn't normal in my home. And that's just not how I was raised. So yes, I was scared. I was terrified. And I told my dad. And my dad had made arrangements for me and my sister to come over his house that day. And he taught me how to fight. Yep, he had us practicing on each other. And that brought in a spirit too, a violent spirit. So him introducing me to that lifestyle brought that spirit into my heart. Everything that I said I was in the beginning of the video as a child, those things left. Me being timid, that turned into me being fearless. Me being quiet and shy, I began to be bold, real bold, and obnoxious and loud. And so I went from this quiet, gentle spirit to a rowdy, fearless, threatening type of spirit. That's what I brought back to school with me. And so I had plans. I was like, I don't know what I experienced over there or what entered into my heart around that time, but I was never the same after I left my dad's house. The final day of school came, the last day of school, and the girls, I'm waiting. Cause now I'm bold, I'm not scared anymore. Like, let's go. That's the type of attitude that I had. Like, I'm ready whenever y'all ready. And they started leaving. Like, they started getting called early for dismissal. And one of them, the ringleader, she stayed. She didn't get called for dismissal yet. And so she came to my desk where I was. She sat down, and I thought she was coming over there to fight, so I was ready. I was getting in position. And she's like, what are you over here doing? And I looked at her like she was crazy. I'm like, I know she's not talking to me after she or they planned and plotted on beating me up and ganging me on the last day of school. We're not gonna act like we're friends. Like, in my mind, I'm like, what? I said, aren't we supposed to fight? Aren't we supposed to be fighting right now? Oh no, I'm just over here to talk. Oh, so in my head, I was like, you're nothing without your clique. Okay, so the jealousy was more so you wanting to probably be my friend, but for whatever reason, you decided to make me your enemy. And so that's what was going on in that moment. And I looked at her and I turned back around. I didn't even say nothing after that. And that's when I got called for dismissal. And I just got up and I walked out the class. And I was pissed. I was like, I just did all that training. I did all that fighting at my dad's, trying to get prepared for this day. And I was so ready just for me to get shut down. And it not happen. I was hot. Yeah. And so The good thing is God made sure I didn't get game. So that was him protecting me. But I didn't look at it as that back then. I looked at it like my time was wasted. That created anger inside of me. I became really, really angry. Then I'm at home, don't get along with my mom, just going back and forth with her. And also this new attitude that I have now. That is getting me whooped, okay? Because now, not only am I a mean child, but now I'm a bad child. This is what happened when I went to the predominantly black school. And I find that weird because it being a predominantly black school, I was actually really, really excited to be there because in my mind, I was like, I'm finally around children who look like me, same color as me, like we're the same race. The other school, it was rare, like it wasn't a lot of us. So I'm super excited to be here because I'm around people with the same skin tone or something similar to mine. And these people are treating me like crap. So you want to know what they did for me? It made me hate black people. That's what it did. It created a hate for me for black people, for my own race. And not all black people, but specifically ghetto black people. Black people who grew up in a different type of environment, who had different morals, different vibes, different, they were just raised differently. I love them, had no problem with them. It was the ghetto ones. I hated ghetto black people. That's what that experience did for me. So not only am I holding hatred in my heart, I'm racist towards my own kind, but that specific kind, ghetto black people. And it went on for years. But I'm not gonna get far ahead yet. So me hating the ghettos, I was at a school that was, filled with them. So I was just walking around mad. I was mad all the time. But I had 3 friends and they weren't ghetto. So of course I was around them. They were around me. We were together. Like that was our thing. But I ended up getting cool with one that was ghetto. And she was the realest friend I ever had. So I hated all ghetto people but her. She was the only one that I actually liked. So I kept her as a friend. Still to this day, that is my friend. She's like a sister to me to this day. But I'm not talking about her, okay? So I went from being this certain type of child to always being in trouble. I was a cheerleader and I got kicked off the cheerleading squad because I had 13 referrals in the office. And this is all in middle school. And I was a cheerleader for 2 years. And I was just a bad child. And people used to tell me, they're like, how you look doesn't match your behavior. Your grades doesn't match your behavior. How are you like this, but you act like this? And I'll be like, why do you care? And how I'm acting has nothing to do with my intelligence. I hate the people in this school. Like, I don't want to be here. Like, I just hate it. I hate everybody here. So that was just me. And I would also be around the kids that didn't nobody else want to be around because I felt for them. Like, I know how that feels to feel alone, where you wanted to feel welcomed and stuff, but you feel by yourself. I know how that feels. So like the goths and the emos, I was around them as well. And I picked up those type of clothes. I began wearing really dark clothes, black. I had a goth thing and that carried over into high school. So high school gets here, I'm in the 9th grade, and I remember they would pick on freshmen around that time. The upperclassmen would pick on the freshmen. When I tell you, didn't nobody come for me? Because I already walked in there with this type of demeanor like I wish you would. I'm not here to play with you. I don't know y'all. And now I'm at another ghetto school. So again, the hate is there. Please don't bother me. I had never been in a fight or anything in middle school, but I was always in some mischief. And I had a friend who was in mischief with me, and her parents, you should just think she was a saint. I'm like, okay, if that's what y'all think. But she was the one that was coming up with this stuff. So it was me and her. But anyway, we in high school now. My behavior is becoming, it's even worse at this point. I am bad, okay? And now I done picked up this goth look. So I'm wearing dark clothes, I'm wearing goth clothes, and I'm also wearing pretty clothes because I was switching it up, let me say that, but I was moving more toward the dark clothes, but I still made it cute. I can say that. I still made the outfits cute. They were dark, but they were cute. And I made a name for myself, and not a good name. I had a bad name for myself. I became infamous. I always had a smart mouth, always had an attitude. People would call me the B word, like she's a B, like she's such a B, or blah, blah, blah. She's mean, she's rude, she's ruthless, reckless. Like everything about me was just bad. And I carried that as a freshman. I didn't get picked on as a freshman. Matter of fact, after 5th grade, I never got picked on again. That's how bad I became. Never got bullied again after 5th grade. And I will say people tried to say stuff or do stuff, but it just didn't work out for them. I was ready. Like I was ready. I ended up getting my first boyfriend in the 9th grade, and he broke my heart. And this is important because, again, in the beginning, I mentioned how my dad leaving my mom, their divorce, it took a toll on me, and that's where abandonment went and came into my life. That's what it felt like. Even though I still would go see my dad, I was just upset that he wasn't in the home anymore. But anyway, my boyfriend in high school, we were together from my whole high school. He was my first boyfriend. So from 9th to 12th grade, I was with this guy, and he ended up moving to another school, so we were long distance, and you know, he was cheating on me and stuff. I was a virgin around that time too, so I got why he was doing what he was doing, but my plan was to lose my virginity when I was married, because that's what I was brought up into. But that's not what happened. I ended up losing my virginity when I was 17. And even that, and it was on my birthday, so it was my 17th birthday. That's when I lost my virginity, and now that's opening up other doors. And before I get too far into that, I want to go back. 10th grade year, I got into my first fight. And once I got into my first physical fight, it was up from there. Like, in my head, I was like, anybody can get it. Like, it doesn't even matter. If you look at me wrong, I'm gonna fight you. If you say something to me wrong, I'm gonna fight you. But that was the only fight I had in high school. I did not fight in high school. Now, after high school is another story. But I did not have nothing but one fight in high school. But the attitude that I was carrying, I was like, anybody can get it. Unpleasant personality. And so people didn't want to be around me. People didn't want to say anything to me. And I wanted them to hate me because I hated them. And it's not that I hated them individually, like this person did. No, I just hated all of them. Didn't care. Didn't like anybody at the school except the people that was around me and my sister, and I would tolerate her friends. But other than that, no, I stayed to myself. I didn't care what anybody was doing. If I seen everybody going right, I purposely went left. Like, I was not I've never been a follower. Never been a follower, so I've never been a people's pleaser. That's just not something that I struggle with. I've never been insecure. I've always loved myself. I've always thought highly of myself. Except back then I was a little more arrogant and conceited, and that's ugly too. So now I have just a whole bunch of like ugliness about me. Just everything. Personality, characteristics, words, and I don't know. I just was not a pleasant person. I was in a lot of arguments and stuff in high school too, and although I wanted people to leave me alone, people didn't. So even if you want to be left alone, it's like people will still bother you, or the enemy will still send somebody to bother you. And that's what happened to me. And so I did a lot of bad things in high school. I even had started a whole clique in high school, and the clique was so bad that they labeled it a gang, and I created that. Because I had a little clique in middle school too, but it wasn't bad. It was something like, just something fun. I don't know how I almost forgot that. One of the girls who bullied me in 5th grade had a clique in 9th grade. And she began the clique or whatever, and the girl who I was talking about, who was from the ghetto, my friend, she told me to make one because of the one that I had in middle school. So I was like, yeah, I'll make it. So I wrote down our rules and regulations. I wrote down our colors. I did all the things like this was a legit clique, and it expanded rather fast, like real quick. And so much so that even guys were joining the clique. Like that's how popular it became. And just bad things were happening. And me and the girl who bullied me in 5th grade, we didn't even have beef in the 9th grade. Like we was cool. It's just our cliques are rivals. Like we're rivals now. You have your clique and I have mine. And my clique grew so big. Like it was a really big clique. I'm not even over exaggerating. It was spreading to different schools. Half the people that was in the clique, I didn't even know them. But the ones who were in 9th grade with me, they were, you know, doing whatever they were doing back where they are or where they were from or where they grew up. And that got back to the school. And one occasion that happened, and it was crazy. My mom wouldn't allow me and my sister to go to the ghetto or any places like that. So I would hear about it from my friend. And I was like, did y'all beat them? Yeah, they beat them. They beat them. Yeah. One girl got beat so bad that it made it back to school. So the girl that got beat outside of school, somehow it made it back to school, and then the principals and all of them, they called a meeting. And they called a lot of our members to the office. And they were like, who created the clique? Who's the leader? Of course, I confessed and told them it was me. I didn't want them to get in trouble for it. I'm like, at least they helping me. Like, these are my clique people. Like, I'm the leader. I'm not fixing to let them fall for me. Because they didn't tell them. They didn't say nothing. So I spoke up and said something. And I was like, I made it. And they told me, if you do not end this clique today, right now, and tell the people that it's over, you're going to get expelled from the school. Because what happened to one of the students, it wasn't good. So the people that was in the office, they heard what was said. And I told them, I'm like, y'all tell y'all's people, because I don't know a lot of these people. And then people who was at the other schools, I let them know. I'm like, y'all don't want to get expelled, because I still got to do my work and stuff. And my mom would be hot. So I was like, just tell everybody the clique is over. And yeah, we ended the clique. It took a long time though. Like it didn't stop immediately. People were still saying slick stuff to the other cliques and stuff. And it was still a big thing, but they were now looking at it as a gang. And so my clique/gang had to come to an end. Eventually, it died down and we just stopped altogether. So that was 9th grade. 10th grade, that's when I had my first fight. After 10th grade, that was a little rocky. I got more enemies. At this point, I'm collecting them. And I don't care. I'm careless, like nonchalant times a million. I don't care about nothing. As long as I pass, that's all I care about. As long as I pass this grade, that's all I care about. But 11th grade came. Now, this is when I knew I took stuff too far and I still didn't care. I hit a dude's mom. She was in the hallway saying something to me. Me and her son was arguing. And she said something to me, I don't remember. And I ended up punching his mom in the face. I remember that I was in the hallway. Got in trouble for that. I remember I hit a teacher. I got in trouble for that. The situation got me kicked out of the school is the one that I'm about to tell you about. So we were in the middle of, and this was my 11th grade year, the first semester of my 11th grade year. We were in the middle of transitioning classes or whatever. And my principal was like pushing people. She was just pushing people to get to class. And I seen her shove my sister. And again, I was very, very protective over my sister. And I was like, why is she just pushing her and all these kids are right here and you just pushing her? And my sister, she's the opposite of me. She's the quiet one. So I'm like, of all these loud kids, it's just over here, you gonna keep pushing her? First I was ignoring it, but then I was like, no, I'm not gonna ignore that. The enemy in my ear. I went over there to my principal. I punched her. Yeah. And I get called to the office, and they expelled me and they expelled my sister just because she was related to me. So she was just guilty by association. She didn't even have anything to do with it. So me and her got kicked out of that school, and we had to transfer to another school. And that's where I spent my 11th grade second semester, at this other school. Now fast forward from that, my 12th grade year came, and I was told that I could come back to my first high school. So my second semester, I went back to, my first semester of my senior year, I went back to my original high school, and my sister came back too. I didn't have any problems either at the other high school. Fast forward, I'm in the 12th grade, and I'm coming back to a school of students that I hate. And I'm just, at this point, I don't even care no more. It's like, I began reading the Bible. I don't know what made me read the Bible, but I stopped caring about stuff, and I was like, let me read the Bible. And the first book I was reading was Proverbs. As I'm reading the book of Proverbs, I'm realizing a lot of stuff that this book is talking about sounds like me. The bad stuff it was talking about, I'm like, dang, this is how I am. Like, this isn't good. And I'm like, sorry God, I didn't even know I was being like that. I wanted to change. So 12th grade year, I'm not in trouble. And then obviously I don't want to get in trouble because I had just got expelled. So I don't want to get kicked out of school again. And this is my senior year. I just need to graduate and just move on with my life. Just, get ready for college. I didn't really have any issues, but I was so disgusted with the students at the school that I wanted to leave. I'm like, I don't even want to be in school anymore. Then I was also at the same time having problems at home with my mom because, again, we didn't get along. And so I was trying to get emancipated, and my dad and them would not sign me over to the state. I just wanted to get away. At this time, I'm 17. So again, remember, I lost my virginity at 17. So I'm going through this at home with my mom. My boyfriend at the time is ticking me off. So I'm going through that. And then he ends up leaving. Now I feel abandoned. Now a whole bunch of childhood trauma is raising. That's even more anger. So now I'm reading Proverbs, trying to get my life together, but I'm also battling demons and I'm battling spirits. And I don't know what's going on in my life right now. And I'm trying to get away from my mom. It was this girl in my school, one of my homegirls that was at the school. She was telling me about a school that allows people to graduate early. I was like, ooh. I said, what are the requirements? Like, cause I gotta get out of here. I don't want to stay here anymore. So she told me what to do, and she gave me the name of the school, and I went to the school. I met with the principal or the director over that school, and my dad took me, and I told her, she was like, why are you trying to come here? I'm like, I was told I could graduate early. I don't want to be in school anymore. I hate school. And because I was in AP and honor classes, I had more than enough credits to even be in school. I didn't even have to be in school anymore technically based off my credits alone. So I told her that, and she was like, okay, I can look into it and we'll get back to you. So she reached out to the Department of Education, and I ended up getting a letter saying that, yes, I can go to the school. So I finished my first semester of my senior year. I had a new principal at this time. It was a male. The lady, she had ended up leaving, but now I got a male principal, and me and him were cool. And by this time, I'm cool with the staff because all of them are trying to make sure that I'm not in there acting a fool anymore, which I really, really appreciate. The staff was really, really helping me, and the cops too. The cops that were on campus, I ended up getting really cool with them because I was always in their office. So I built a relationship with them as well. So a lot of people were trying to hold me accountable. And so that was me trying to be mature and whatnot. But my senior year, I left and I went to the other school for the second semester. And then I ended up graduating like super early. Graduated in February instead of May. I was 17. And I remember I was just bored because I'm like, all my friends are still in school. I don't have nothing to do here. And I'm just here, where we were staying. I'm just there alone. And I realized that I would miss my senior prom. So I reached out to the principal, who I was cool with, And I asked him, I said, do you think I could come back to go to prom or graduate with y'all? Like, I've already graduated, but you think that they'll let me come back to just graduate when my class graduates? And would they let me go to prom? And he said, I would have to reach out to the Department of Education to see. But he was letting me know that he'll get back with me. Anyway, he reached out to the Department of Education and they allowed me to go to my senior prom. But he told me that they denied me walking with my class since I didn't graduate from that school. And so I was like, okay. Once I got approved for prom, I ended up going up to the school and I met with the principal. And he had me sign a paper or something. And he gave me my prom tickets. I paid for my prom tickets. But I didn't get to walk with my longtime classmates or friends. I didn't get to walk with them. But I did get to go to prom with them. So God opened that door for me, and yeah, that was how my senior year ended. Now I'm going into college and I'm doing all the things that a person who receives freedom can do. After I turned 18, I was going into the summer and I was just doing everything that my mom told me I couldn't do since she was super strict. I went and got my first tattoo. 18 and 19, I did a lot. Out partying, out clubbing. I was out drinking. I was doing everything that I probably shouldn't do at ages 18 and 19. I was doing it. I was fighting too. So this is where fighting happened. Me and my boyfriend from high school ended up breaking up as well. So that's going on. I'm feeling heartbreak, heartache. So to get rid of that, I'm out here just doing whatever, just to numb that pain. And just, I was drinking a lot. Going to college parties, whatever. I was living the college life for sure. And I remember at age 19, I was in my room because I was still living with my mom around that time. And by the way, my mom had remarried when I was 14. So I was staying with her and my new stepdad. I was in a room by myself and I had to go to work, so I decided to take a nap. I wanted to take a quick nap. And I was in there by myself. I hear a voice as I'm about to lay down. I hear a voice say, spread the gospel. And I'm like, Sierra, you tripping, okay? Get some rest. You finna go to work in a few. So I laid back down, I heard it again, spread the gospel. At this point, I'm looking under the bed and stuff and looking around the room because I'm like, is somebody in my room? Didn't see anybody. I'm putting my fingers in my ear like this and I'm like, blah, 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 you know, trying to tune out the noise. But the more I was doing that, the whisper that I heard, it overpowered because it was a soft whisper. It was a loud whisper. I don't know, I can't make it make sense. But it was so loud that it overpowered my blah, 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 blah. Like it overpowered that. And it said spread the gospel. And I just remember saying no. That's what I shouted out. I said no. I'm not spreading any gospel. Like what? That Sunday, that following Sunday from that day that I said no, I went to church and my pastor had said, have you ever heard a voice tell you to do something that you didn't want to do? I was like, shoot, yeah, I heard that a few days ago. And I said no. That's what I was saying to myself. He said that was God. And I was like, what? I did not know it was God, y'all. It's not funny. It's not funny. I did not know that was him. I said no. And then after I found out it was him, I still said no. I said, God, now that I know that was you, can't even believe I heard you. Because I didn't even know you had a voice that I could hear. I know people in the Bible would hear your voice, but that was a long time ago. I didn't know he still did stuff like that. So that was scary to me anyway that I even heard that. But at least I knew that I wasn't tripping. Because I thought I was tripping around that time. But I told God, no, I'm not spreading the gospel. I just got out from my strict mom. I am free and I'm going to live my life. I don't want to spread the gospel, so I'm not doing that. And I don't even know what that means. So no, that's what I told God. From ages 20 to 21, because I'm gonna try to do years to make time like shorter. From ages 20 to 21, I experienced hell. And I do believe that this is a result of me being disobedient and not doing what God asked me to do, because God had asked me to spread the gospel and I told him no. So this, I believe, are the results of disobedience and running from God. Like how Jonah ran from God and got swallowed by the fish. This is me running from God now, knowing that it was him and getting confirmation from a pastor. Age 20, I end up meeting my son's dad, and I end up getting pregnant by him. I was also engaged too at that time by him. And I was pregnant with my daughter, and she didn't make it. She was stillborn at 8.5 months pregnant. That was just a really, really dark time for me. I didn't even want her. My initial plan was to get her aborted, but her dad was like, no, you're not gonna kill my baby. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll keep her. I didn't want kids. I never wanted kids. I wanted to be like the rich auntie. Like that was my goal in life. Business owner, rich aunt, that's me. I wanted to be that. And that's not what happened. I had my daughter, and when she was stillborn, I was 8.5 months pregnant. So it was 2 weeks before her actual due date. And me, because I was so nonchalant and careless, I didn't really express anything, not even at the hospital. They were like, why are you not crying? That's what people were asking me. I'm like, death is a part of life. Like, what am I gonna do about it? There's nothing I can do. And I've just never been a crier. And like I said, when 5th grade, when I got bullied and I cried in front of everybody, that was it for me. The tears and all that, no. If I was crying, I was mad about something. After the hospital, me staying there 3 days, I remember they asked me if I wanted to give my child a funeral. And I was like, no, I'm not about to bury a baby. I was like, that doesn't seem right to me. I said to have her cremated. So that's what they did. And I left the hospital. I go to my mom's because I was staying with her around this time. And I remember not seeing any of my baby girl's clothes, her new things that were being bought for her. All of it was gone because my mom hid it because she didn't want me to see it when I got home. And that reminded me that my baby was really gone. Like, I left here with a person in my stomach, and I came back with nobody. So it's like everything hit me. So when I got in the shower after seeing that all her stuff was gone, I broke down in that shower. I was crying, and they could hear me outside of the door too. I was through. After that, I didn't listen to any postpartum instructions or anything like that. I went ahead and got pregnant again. I had both my children at 21 because my son came 2 weeks early. So he was supposed to come when I turned 22, but he came before my birthday. And me and his dad, we ended up not working out. He broke up with me, and that was a toxic relationship. We was only together for 2.5 years, but it was a toxic 2.5 years. That created something dark in me too. And plus, he's from another state. He grew up in another city, and his family and them, they were ghetto. So it wasn't gonna work out with us. It was a no for me. They didn't like me for whatever reason. I don't know. I couldn't care any less, but I knew why I didn't like them, and it was because they were ghetto. He wasn't ghetto, but his family, most definitely. So between the ages of 22 and 23, I meet a guy. This was my 3rd relationship, because I've only been in 3 relationships. I'm not including situationships. Relationships, I've only been in 3 at the time of this recording. This was my 3rd relationship. And before we were in a relationship, I was messing around with him when he was 19, I was 23. And then that didn't work out. So ages 24, 25, it's a little blurry. Just know I was still in sin though. Still running from God, completely ignoring him, doing things my way. Around this time, I had a billboard. It was like this big wooden board. It was tall, and I made it into a vision board. And I began writing out all the things that I wanted to happen before the age of 30. So it was called my Before 30 I Intend to list. That's what it was. But the vision board said things that I want to accomplish before age of 30. And I had on there business, I had on there, at that time I was in school to be a dentist, specifically an orthodontist. So I had that on there. I had my son in private schools, and I had like my dream car and just things like that. All of it happened except the orthodontist thing, because I ended up just losing interest in it. But I had started my first business before 30. My son was always in private school since pre-K, so that was another thing that I could mark off that. Oh, and I had that I want to be married on there too. That didn't happen. There's a few other things that I had on there, and I was nearing age 30. So at this time, ages 26, 27, and 28. I am in school to be a dentist, to be an orthodontist, still getting into kraut, still hateful, just living a sinful life. Either age 26 or 27, I don't know. I end up getting in a relationship with a guy who was 4 years younger than me. We actually ended up being in an actual relationship years later. And we went together alone, but I wanted him until I got him, and then once I got him, I didn't want him anymore. That's how that happened. So I worked on an exit plan. And this exit plan that I had worked on was for me to get rid of him. And I didn't know what way, because he was a good man, he was a good guy, like he was a really good person. But I didn't want the relationship anymore. Just, he was younger than me, there was a lot of stuff he didn't know and that I just didn't have the patience for at the time. I didn't believe in God or Jesus, so that was also a deal breaker for me. Like, if you don't believe in Jesus and like that he's your Lord and Savior and stuff, it's just a flat out no for me. So around that time, I didn't try to convert him because I never pushed that on nobody, but I would say things and I would hope he would like kind of catch on. He didn't. I was like, no, this is not gonna work for me. And so I tried to get out of that relationship, and so I started working on an exit plan. Around this time, I ended up being an assistant manager at a store. It was a black-owned store. And I ended up meeting this guy there. He was the co-owner. Me and the guy who I was in a relationship with, he had said he wanted to take a break. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So when he said that, I ended up getting invited by the co-owner of this company I'm telling you about to go meet him. And around this time, I'm not even thinking about my then boyfriend, because I'm like, well, shoot, he done broke things off. Okay, cool. I go out with him and he takes me around the city that he lives, because he lives somewhere else. And yeah, stuff happened. Same time that stuff happened, I ended up getting a call from the dude that said he wanted a break. He ended up calling me that same day that I was out with this one, talking about he wanted to fix it. And I was like, oh no. The damage is done by this time, so I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I'm about to figure something out. I gotta get out of this. I headed back to Nashville, which is where I'm from. My goodness. And I was like, God, I gotta get out of this. I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. Anyway, I ended up telling him. I'm like, shoot, I just gotta tell him. I told him that was it with us. I told him what I had did, and that was the end of it. After him, now I'm talking to this man who's the co-owner of this black-owned store. And we're in a situationship. I was living a life in fornication. That's what I was doing. But in the same time, I'm trying to get closer to God. So now these are ages 28, 29-ish now. I'm inquiring about God. I'm trying to figure things out. And then I'm with this guy on and off far distance. He lived in another state, but I was loyal to him. I never talked to anybody else while I was talking to him. I never dealt with anybody. I never even texted or spoke to anybody else, you might as well say, as I'm in this situationship, this 4-year situationship. So as the situationship is going, I'm getting closer to God at the same time, and I'm working at their company as well, him and his brother's company. This made me wonder about marriage and stuff like that. So I began to think that this man could be a potential spouse. But he had just got out of a marriage, and then he's 10 years older than me. So I didn't even look at those signs. I was just made up in my mind, like, that's what it's gonna be. From age 19 to 29, me approaching my 30th birthday. So for 11 years, you might as well say. For 11 years, I'm still not following Jesus. I'm still not spreading the gospel like God had asked me around that time. And I'm a mom now, a single mom at that. I am going through hell and just torment and things like that. Got this dominant spirit about me, this masculine spirit about me, this Jezebel spirit. That's what it is. Controlling spirit, wanting things my way or the highway. Just carrying myself in that way. And then just having hatred and just evil thoughts and things like that. One day I decided to do a Bible challenge. I don't know why or how it came up, but I was saying to myself, how many people do I know who have read the Bible front to back? Not many people. So I decided to do that. The gift of prophecy was unlocked in me. Dreams. The prophetic gift of being a prophet that was given to me after I read that book from Genesis to Revelation. I began having dreams, and I would notice that the dreams would happen. Now around this time, I ended up cutting off the man I was in a situationship with, and I was just learning more about the Bible. I was like, shoot, if this happened, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna read the Bible again. I waited a little while and I ended up doing the Bible challenge again because I was like, if it don't like this gift, ain't no telling what else it don't like. So I did the Bible challenge again. I read it the second time from Genesis to Revelation. Now around this time, I ended up start talking back to the guy I was in a situationship, the one I worked for. And I also went back to their job because I had quit around the time that I was working there when I went to go visit him and he was taking me on those dates. I had quit the company around that time. But now I'm back at the place and I'm back talking to him. And while I'm talking to this man, I do the Bible challenge again. And nothing got unlocked the second time. I still had the gift of prophecy and I still had my dreams. And I began to write the dreams down and date them because I realized what was going on. And so I wanted to write down when I had the dream, and then I wanted to write the date that it actually happened. I just go through a lot of spiritual warfare. At this time, I'm waiting on God to fix things in my life. And now I'm getting closer to the age of 30, and there's a lot of things on my before 30 I intend to list that didn't happen. Now I'm thinking about time. I'm about to be 30 and this stuff isn't crossed out yet. I got the business, the private schools, the other things that are on there. I don't have the things that I really, really want on that list. And marriage was on there too. I don't even have that. And I'm like, maybe it's gonna be this man. Maybe it's gonna be another man. I don't know. It was one time that God gave me a dream, and the dream was about restoration. And I want to say it was January of 2023. God gave me a dream about restoration. And I was doing so well financially and stuff. I was like, why am I having this dream? Because the job was paying me well. I was like, why are you showing me this? I wrote it down. It was showing 2 clear cups and they were empty. And God was letting me know that I'm going to repay you double of everything you lost. On the right side of the dream, it was the number 10. No, it was the number 20. It was dangling in the air for some reason. And then under the number 20 was the word restoration, and the word restoration was just dangling. And 10 is the number of restoration. So God was letting me know by showing me the number 20 that he was going to give me back double of everything I lost. And so the clear cups represented double as well. I'm going to fill 2 cups. You're going to get back double of everything you lost. And I woke up from the dream. I said, okay, why are you showing me this? Because I haven't lost anything. Now I am waiting on you to put some stuff into my life, but I haven't lost anything. I'm doing good. Like, I'm well off right now. Well, 2 months later, I get terminated from the job. Well, they say it's not a termination because they told me I was already planning on quitting on them again. So this was a mutual decision. But I was cool with the owner. And I was messing with the co-owner, which is his brother. All right, cool. They still paid me while I was no longer there. And the situation that had got me put out, it was a situation with one of the other staff members. Because I was a general manager at this time. One of the employees just started a whole bunch of stuff and it was just bad. So God was preparing me for that moment. So he showed me in January what was about to happen in March. That's why he told me that he was going to restore to me everything that was lost, because he knew what was coming my way. My birthday is in May. It's happening in March. So I'm approaching 30 now this year. It was the year 2023, I turned 30. And I am so upset, because I'm like, God, there's things on this list on my vision board that I have not completed yet. Like, I'm about to be 30. Like, what are you doing? And so when I lost everything, he stripped. When I say I lost everything, I mean it. The year 2023 was my wilderness season. I said, since you haven't given me the things on my vision board, I want you to save me by age 30. I'm not running no more. I'll spread your gospel. I'll do whatever I need to do. But please, because now you done took everything from me. What do I got now? He set it up like that though, so that he could pull me out of my darkness. Age 30 comes, my 30th birthday. And it was such a supernatural encounter. Like, how the birthday went, the transportation was fire. Like, everything about my 30th birthday was lit. And I felt like he made it so perfect, because he knew I was dreading that age, because it was a lot of things on that list that I didn't complete yet. But that was me being controlling, thinking that I could control my outcome, thinking I could control the way that God is going to use me and how my life is going to go. I thought I was in control of my life. So I planned things according to what I wanted, but God had other plans. I did not get saved, by the way. I was begging. God saved me before He did not. I did not get saved on my 30th birthday or before my 30th birthday. I got saved 3 weeks after my 30th birthday. So on June 6, 2023, I was in my room. I went to sleep. And in that dream, I was in this wilderness, like dry land, like a desert, but it had cracked ground. The ground was really cracked. And I was in this army car. Like, it was like an army van or something. I don't know. It was something that was for the army. And it looks like we was going to battle. While I'm in the car, I began throwing up. A certain fear of mine, it was coming out of my mouth. That fear was coming up with goo. There was goo and clear stuff, and my actual fear that I had, a thing that I feared, was coming out with it. And then the thing I feared was also raining. It was raining lots of it, just raining out of the sky. And so I felt like I was in hell, because I'm like, I can't wake up, and I'm seeing my fear falling out the sky, and it's coming out of my mouth, and it's dry. So I'm like throwing up, and I can't breathe, and I can't inhale because it's pouring out. And there was so much of just blackness and darkness and this goo, all of it just coming out while I'm in a dream. I remember there was some people on the ground, and this is when I stopped throwing up. It was some people standing on that cracked ground, and it was so dry that it was no water or nothing. It was just dry and just hot. There was a person that was dressed up like a ninja. They had on all black. You couldn't see anything but their eyes. And it was a demon that was out there. And I remember the ninja went over there and stabbed the demon in the back. And after that happened, I woke up. When I tell you, when I woke up, my clothes were wet. And I'm not a heavy sweater. I rarely sweat. So I woke up, and it looked like I just came out of a tub with my clothes on. That's how wet I was. Like, my shirt and my pants was like stuck to me. First of all, I've had a lot of dreams, and being prophetic, I get a lot of dreams, but no dream has ever scared me that bad like that dream. And then my fear was in the dream as well. So that was a terrifying dream for me. And I remember I'm waking up, and I'm like scared, and I hurried up and found the sermon to put on. The pastor I was listening to had preached about something that had resonated with the dream I had just woke out of. And that's when I found out that what I went through was deliverance. So I didn't get delivered at a church or at an altar or anything. I got delivered in my dream. And so the stuff I was throwing up, that was the evil, the hate, the mean things that I've done to people. Just anything that was in me that was dark came out, and that's why I was throwing it up, because demons exit out. One of the ways that they exit out is through vomit. So that was me experiencing deliverance. And the black and all that was coming out, that was everything that was in me that was evil. And so while I'm begging God to deliver me, He decided to do it 3 weeks after my 30th birthday in my dream. Of course, I called all the people I needed to call, because I had to tell them about it. And I talked to my mom, I talked to my sister, I was just telling everybody about the craziness that I had just experienced. And that is how I got delivered. After I got delivered, I had this feeling, same day, I had this feeling, but I didn't have any emotion. Like I couldn't feel anything. It was like I couldn't feel, it was like everything was light or numb, but I didn't have any feeling. I'm like, what is this I'm feeling? And so I Googled it. I'm like, what does it mean to not feel anything? Like, is that normal, whatever? And I put biblical behind it because I didn't want them sending me no new age to nothing or anything like that. So it said, the peace that surpasses all understanding. Philippians chapter 4, verse 7. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. That is what I experienced. The peace that surpasses all understanding. That's what that feeling was. And I was like, if this is what peace is, I want this all the time. I said, I feel new. I feel like a brand new person, and I'm at peace. I don't even have anger in me. So like the internal anger that I had, the internal hatred that I had, the internal hatred I had for ghetto black people. I don't hate ghetto black people to this day. So if you are a ghetto black person listening to this, I do not hate you all anymore. I know that sounds bad, and I'm black, but I'm not ghetto black. Still hate the behavior and the actions and stuff. I still hate that because I hate what God hates. God don't like stuff like that. Whatever God loves, I want to love. Whatever He hates, I want to hate. Don't hate. I don't hate y'all, but I hate the behavior. Don't like it. Will not be around it. I still won't be around it. Anybody that I hated for whatever reason that I hated them, I didn't feel it anymore. I felt internal peace. So the hate and stuff that was internal at first was substituted. So when I get mad and stuff, now it's like temporary. It's not internal, it's external. Internally, I be content, like, hey, it is what it is. That encounter that I had, that deliverance that I went through, that opened up that door for me to have internal joy, internal peace, and have the Holy Spirit inside of me. I decided to test this new person, this new body, this new experience. I'm like, let me see if I'm really delivered. I tried to look at certain people. I tried to go to certain places just to see if I could, like, I really did this. I'm not joking. I really tried to see if I even stopped cursing. That's how powerful that was. Now I end up picking it back up because I end up backsliding, but I'm gonna get to that next. So for 19 years, I was carrying darkness. For 19 years, from the age, I want to say I had to been like 10 or 11 around that time, probably 10, I don't remember. But 19 years of an evil heart. I got delivered at age 30. I didn't get all the things that I wanted on that vision board at age 30, but I got deliverance at age 30. I got saved. That is how I came to Christ. That is how Jesus found me. The meanness, I feel like that's still there. That might be my thorn. You know how the Bible talks about Paul had a thorn, and no matter what he did, like, it wouldn't go away. He needed God's strength. Like, God left that thorn in him so that he would always need God, so he would not always be above himself. I feel like that's what my thorn is, the meanness, because it comes out. And I feel like the meanness should be used for the kingdom of darkness, not me just using it towards God's people, but I should be using the meanness towards the enemy. I will have a part 2 to this testimony, but I can't release that right now because that is something else. And this one is just about what led me up to become a follower of Christ. But stay tuned for the part 2, because that one's going to be lit. I'm going to remember where I left off. Matter of fact, let me write it down. I'm going to write it down. I wrote it down. Okay. It's a lot of stuff that I left out. You'll hear about a lot of what I left out in my podcast. And that is called the Sierra Podcast. Literally. All those 3 words. The Sierra Podcast. That's what the podcast is called. And so I will talk about more in depth my testimony leading up and all the things that I went through. I backslid too. I thought that when you get saved, that it's just one and done. But it does happen like that for some people. It did not happen like that for me. And I ended up cutting off that guy that I used to work for too. I ended up getting out of that situationship for several reasons. It just wasn't a healthy thing for me. And around that time, I had asked God to send a distraction. I was like, I need to get my mind off him. I don't even talk to him no more. And that was 4 years of a wasted time. But also I found Christ in it, so it wasn't a complete waste. Something good came out of it. Feeling like that person was my assignment, so I would pray for them or whatever, but I felt like my assignment was over. Because I was only in it because I thought it was God's will. So I was holding on to it. And this is why you should be careful about what your heart believes and what God tells you. And if sin is the core of whatever it is that you're dealing with, then God's probably not in it. Not probably. I mean, he could be in it, but I'm saying that that's not him. So this situation wasn't a godly thing. It was a fleshly thing. This was my desires. I got out of that situation. I asked God for a distraction to keep my mind off, and God did send a distraction. I was asking for a distraction like an opportunity or something like that. That's not what I got. I got a whole person, a new person, and this person just changed my life. This person allowed me to get my softness back because I had lost that once I had put on that dominant persona, that Jezebel spirit, the controlling spirit. I had began being loud, crazy, and obnoxious. This person's presence and what they brought into my life allowed me to be gentle again. I'm soft again. I am patient. I extended grace for the first time after meeting this person. And I extended the grace to that person. And so that person coming into my life really helped me. So I can't even call that person a distraction. This person was a good distraction because it led me to a better me. God used that person as a tool to lead me towards a better me. And so that's a gift. And I was able to get back to the Sierra that I was when I was a little girl. And it was my mission to be soft anyway, because I said I want to be a wife one day. And no man want a masculine wife, no dominant wife. So God has been working on me with that too. And I'm submissive to God. I'm submissive to him. And that wasn't easy either. That was hard for me. So when I backslid, a whole lot of sin came back, the cursing and all that. But I didn't go back to the hatred and the evilness. I never went back to that, thank God. But I had to now work out fornication. I had to work out cursing again. I had to work out gossiping. I had to cut a lot of people off because a lot of people they came with those things and I didn't want anything to do with it. And that's where I'm at. And that's where I want to stay. I'm not missing out on anything. But this time I do it from peace. This time I'm doing it from patience. I'm not doing it from an evil heart or arrogance. No longer arrogant. I'm no longer conceited. I'm no longer prideful. I do have some things that I am working on concerning pride, but overall, I've been doing pretty good. No matter what's going on in my life right now, I still have internal peace. When the bad things come, when the warfare comes, when the spiritual warfare comes, I still have peace. And it feels good to have that because at first I did not. But now I am intentionally choosing God, and me intentionally choosing him is allowing me to be submissive to him. That way I can get ready to become a wife. That way I can be a good mother to my son. I wasn't a good mother to my son at first. Because I was so angry and mad, I used to take it out on him and he didn't even do anything. So God was able to restore my relationship with my son where we have a better relationship now. And I love that for us. I really do. We get along now. I've been stepping out on faith. That was new for me because that was a scary thing. And that still is a scary thing because stepping out in faith is stepping into the unknown. You really don't even know what you're going to get. You don't know what God is about to do. I'm at peace. I'm choosing God, intentionally choosing him. I'm choosing to stay away from gossipers. I'm choosing to stay away from situations that could potentially get me back into what I fought hard to get out of. I fought too hard to get out of that stuff. I'm not going back there. I am more aware of my decisions. I know that every decision I make will cost me if it's not a good decision. So I am careful with the decisions that I make. I am careful with who I surround myself with. I have been able to navigate without compromise. Like, I'm not conformed to this world anymore. I'm just at peace. I can't explain it. And God can't be explained. He can only be experienced. He brought a peace in me that the world could not bring. God restored some friendships as well, some family relationships as well. He's restored a lot. So the dream that he was showing me of restoration, that's happening now. And I would just encourage anybody who may have came from a dark place to follow Jesus, or to just pick up that Bible and read, because it saved me, and I know it'll save you. And this is just coming from me. Again, like I said before, your girl was evil. I was not a good person, and I'm not ashamed either. That's another thing. I know it's in this walk, people want me to feel shame for how I treated them or for what I did. I don't feel any shame about anything that I did. And Jesus took shame away from us at the cross. I don't have to feel ashamed of anything I did. All of that led me to where I am now. And it makes for one heck of a testimony, because for me to come out of what I came out of, from that darkness to where I am now, kudos to me. I could have done things differently, but I am glad that it happened the way it happened. That's my story. This story will help change somebody's life. Yeah, God saved me and he met me where I was. And a lot of stuff has been restored. And there's a lot of promises that he made that came to pass too. And so he's been here. But in order for those things to come to pass, I had to do my part, which was fully surrender to him, fully submit to him, fully trust his plan and his will over my life over my own. I let go of my way of doing things and my will, and I actually cling to him and his will. And that is what opened those promises. And there are promises still being made. Good days, bad days, they still come. That's the unfortunate part. The good and the bad still come. But this time I'm not doing it by my own strength. This time I am doing it by the strength of God. Even through the tests and the days that I really, really want to give up, God gives me his strength to keep going. And also on my 30th birthday, which was May 12th, 2023, God sent me a verse. Matthew chapter 5, verse 14 through 16. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Those are the verses that God gave me on my 30th birthday to remind me of who I am to him and who I should be in the world. I come from darkness to light. I come from hatred to love. I'm the light of the world, so I have to be the light of the world. And you're the light of the world if you've been chosen and called by God. So you have to be that light in a dark world. And this world is getting darker and darker. I remember I would lie when I was a kid. And then when Satan entered into my heart, I remember I had stopped lying. So I would say 6th grade, because 6th grade is when like everything changed. So that was the year after the 5th grade year of me being bullied. 6th grade year, I remember I had told the truth to somebody and it hurt them. And I remember feeling so happy that it hurt them that I said, I'll never lie again. I'm gonna just start telling people the truth. The enemy took me telling people the truth, which is a good thing, to be truthful. You shouldn't lie. I allowed him to distort that into something evil. I told people the truth to hurt them, not to just tell them the truth because I cared. I did not care about anybody. I wanted to hurt people and I told them the truth. And I've been telling the truth since then. But I don't do it now to hurt people. And I'm saying that because I'm telling this truth now, that Jesus is the way, he is the truth, he is the life. And nobody comes to the Father except through him. No matter what you've done, no matter what anyone makes you feel like you've done, nobody is too far to be reached. Anybody can be saved. Give God a chance. Give Jesus a chance. He is the key to your freedom. He is the key to your happiness. He is the key to long life in the afterlife. He is the key to love. He is the key to everything. And once you accept him into your heart, you will be mind blown at the opportunities that come your way, at the healing that comes your way, at the transformation that will come your way. I'll see you guys when I make the part 2 of this testimony. And stick around for that, okay? Because it's going to be good. All right. Bye.